Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 3 of Final Space. So, the first 2 episodes was a 2-part premiere, introducing us to the characters, the kind of plot and everything. So, Gary is a complete moron who impersonated an officer and caused a bunch of shit to happen, which ended up in him being arrested and, yeah, being put into a prison sentence on a spaceship for some reason. He ended up finding this creature he calls Mooncake, which apparently is a planet destroyer, and he's trying to take care of it. Meanwhile, he's started to work with a bounty hunter named Avocado or something like that. And now they're, I guess, going to try to get Avocado's son from the Lord Commander, who's voiced by David Tennant, but doesn't sound at all like he's voiced by David Tennant. Which, I mean, I guess is a good thing that he has that kind of range to voice a character that sounds nothing like him in any way. Sure. Yeah, the first 2 episodes of this were completely and utterly stupid. Like, not even a question. This series is just dumb. The characters are just dumb. The plot is dumb. Everything is dumb. But in almost an enjoyable way. It's like a so bad it's good kind of thing, which is really rare to find in a TV series. Like, the so bad it's good kind of thing is common in movies. You'll have movies like Birdemic or Tommy Wiseau's The Room, stuff like that. And there's a lot of those that are just really terrible, but in a really enjoyable way. Like, it's really fun to watch, especially with a group of friends. But with TV shows, when a TV show is bad, it's just bad. It's not enjoyably bad. It's just really bad. So it's interesting that Final Space seems to be a so bad it's good kind of series. At least as of the first 2 episodes. I don't know where it's going to go from here. Now, I think the first season's like 10 episodes. So it shouldn't be too hard to get through these, but at least for today, we're only doing 1 episode. And we'll just kind of have to go from there. Hopefully, it remains in the so bad it's good category, or at least actually becomes legitimately good. Because right now, I could see it going either way. I know nothing about what's to come in this episode. I presume they're not going to make any headway quite yet with rescuing Avocado's son. I don't know for sure. I guess we'll have to find out. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, I guess. The art and animation is okay. Nothing to write home about. The voice acting is fine, if not a little over dramatic, which might be the point, but it's not, like, again, amazing. Nothing in this, I would say, is actually straight up amazing. Most of it is, like, just kind of okay or good, but a lot of it, especially the story and characters and everything, tend to be, like, really just ridiculous and stupid and just so over the top it's not funny. I mean, though in some cases it is funny, but you know what I mean. I have no idea where this is going to go at all, like I said, but I'm hoping for the best, so we're just going to get this going. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. We are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So my views on this haven't really changed. It's still fucking stupid. It's dumb as hell. But it's enjoyably dumb. So this time, Gary and Avocado continue their hunt and everything, and they're trying to get information or whatnot from these helpers. They end up knocking them out, putting them into this really fucked up plane of existence where anything you think of just comes to reality. And they escape, rescue Mooncake, who had been kind of not really forced to fight for his existence, because that was kind of on him that happened. Um, but Mooncake ended up fighting against all these other creatures, killing them, which was, I guess, appeasing some titans or whatnot. They rescued him, had a fight with the Lord Commander, who's a complete dumbass himself. Um, and we got the title drop, learning that apparently Mooncake can open final space. Don't fully know what that means yet, though. Meanwhile, Quinn was going about her business, ends up getting chased by this guy, caught by him, and then escapes after he gets sucked into like some kind of tear in reality or something, while saying he's not a douche canoe, because that's a thing. Um, she then puts out a distress call, which at the end Gary hears, and so yeah, presumably in the next episode is going to be when these two reunite. But we also have future Quinn as well still, which I don't know where that's going to go exactly. This is so dumb. Like, Lord Commander's problems seem to be completely his fault. Like, it's like, oh, I'm dying because I keep overusing my powers. Let's just overuse my powers some more. Just a fucking dumbass. And Gary is just the complete definition of idiot. Occasionally he'll have a smart idea, like opening the cells to let out the monsters, which allowed for a distraction enough to get away and all. But still, he makes all the dumbest mistakes constantly. At least he was able to understand that, I guess, Stevel was definitely a bad choice to leave Mooncake with. And yeah, there wasn't enough really going on in comparison to the first two episodes in terms of just like, amount of content. It was a lot more focused, I guess you could say. I said there wasn't enough. I guess a better way to put it was there's not as much. It's more focused. It's more centralized, because the first two episodes were a premiere. This is a episode. I like how it's not episodic, though. It is continuing on with the main story. There is still the main objective to keep Mooncake safe, as well as to rescue Little Kato. It actually has a story still. It's not like, oh, this is just episodic. There's some episodic things that happen. Probably the funniest part of this episode, though, was that one dude on the planet who just kept ripping people's heads off and screaming in excitement because of the entire murder not festival, like tournament thing, excuse me. I guess he's like some big fan, and it's like every single time you see him, he's just ripping someone else's head off and just screaming in excitement. It's actually a hilarious running gag. It's not as good a running gag as, say, the Cabbage Merchant from Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, but it's still it's a good running gag. It was done well. um, but yeah, it's like watching only one episode this time instead of the two. It definitely feels almost like I'm missing something, like I'm missing more content when I'm actually not. It's just I had more last time. Um, but yeah, overall, I mean, I think this was a little better. It's still completely stupid, but it was definitely better in terms of quality than the first two. And again, it felt more focused, and I think that was the key. It felt like it was more like, I don't know how else to put it without just saying focused over and over. Um, it didn't feel as just careless as the first two episodes, and it wasn't. It was still very fucking dumb, but it wasn't as dumb. I would say it, it's hard to explain. You know, it's just hard to explain. I hope you understand where I'm trying to go with that. Um, I still am not like the biggest fan of the characters, all things considered. I do like though, like the one part, and like outside of comedy and stuff that I actually really appreciated in this episode. If I were to say one part that actually really caught my attention and interest, Mooncake's little struggle of morality there. When Mooncake was in the arena after killing all of these different creatures, he was like looking at his reflection in the blood, in the pools of blood and stuff, looking at all the corpses he left in his wake, and it legitimately gave him a crisis of conscience. And that is actually fascinating. Because Mooncake, I wouldn't say was shown to be unintelligent or anything. Actually, on the contrary, Mooncake does have a noteworthy intelligence. But he's not a humanoid character, you know? He's not humanoid, he doesn't have a noteworthy speech pattern that we can understand as viewers. He kind of comes across as more of a pet in a lot of ways. So to actually see him having that crisis of conscience, to show that level of self, what's the word? My mind is blanking. Oh my God, what is the... Of self-awareness, let's just put it like that. I don't think that's exactly what I was thinking of, but to have that level of self-awareness, and actually question your own being in a way is actually really fucking fascinating. And I think that's the part of this episode that really hooked me in, honestly. If it wasn't for that part of the episode, I would not have been invested as I was in it. And I definitely think that that's probably going to be the best aspect of this, when it actually does cover some really serious topics and ideas like that. Because it doesn't even feel like it was mishandled or like made a joke of. No, it actually felt like that was something legitimately like real for Mooncake. And the ending part where Gary's actually like speaking to Mooncake, and there's a little bit of comedy in that moment, but Gary is actually legitimately calming Mooncake down and encouraging him, was actually really sweet. So it's like, I think that, yeah, it's mostly a comedy show, but they are going to interject those moments of legitimate, like, seriousness that helps sell these characters in a way that's pretty much the rest of the series doesn't. It's like you continue to see how insurmountably dumb Gary is, but then he has moments like that where he shows himself to have a really good heart. Like a legitimately really good heart. To where he does what he can to cheer up what basically amounts to as a grieving friend. Someone who's extremely brought down by their own sense of self. And for him to go out of his way to cheer him up. And again, even though there was a little bit of stupid comedy during that scene, it was actually really touching. I can really respect that. And after, when I first watched the first two episodes, I never thought I would say that about a show like this. That I can actually respect something they did. So that's definitely a big plus, and I think that's definitely the biggest positive to this episode. The entire crisis of conscience and all. I think it was actually fantastically done, especially because it was Mooncake. Like if they did that just with like Avocado or Gary, it wouldn't be as impactful. But because it was Mooncake, because Mooncake is this kind of character that we've been shown, more like a pet-like character or very animal-like in comparison to the human characters, by showing that self-awareness and crisis of conscience, it, for lack of a better word, humanizes Mooncake. And actually makes me, as the viewer, care more for him. That's what I want to see. So I actually really respect that. It is definitely the best part of this episode, and definitely the thing that has honestly invested me into checking out more of this. And I'm not saying that without that I would have necessarily dropped the series after this episode. No, it was still an enjoyable episode. But I'm saying that is what hooked me in. Because prior to this, I would not say I was hooked into this series. I was interested, but I wasn't like, it didn't grab me. That grabbed me. So I really have to give the credit where the credit is due. That was good. That was really good. But the series is still dumb as fuck. It's still dumb. It just has a good moment. And it didn't feel out of place. I don't think I mentioned that. It did not feel out of place either. It actually felt really natural. Which I have no idea how they did. Because that should have felt really out of place. But it didn't. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed by that. This episode actually did something that really impressed me. Go figure. This show, we're definitely continuing, at least for now. And honestly, even with how dumb it is, I don't think it's going to be a show that I'll end up dropping. I mean, it's only 10 episodes. Again, somewhere around that, I believe. And not counting season 2. And it's enjoyable enough, even if you view it as a so bad it's good kind of show. It's enjoyable enough to want to see more of. So yeah, this is definitely something we are continuing for now. And hopefully I like it enough to actually go on to the second season. Hopefully it does end up impressing me more than I would have ever expected. More than just this one moment in this episode. We'll have to see. In the meantime, tell me your thoughts on this episode of Final Space down in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,